Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Four Trained Savages podcast, episode number 202. My name is Rob. Tyler's on the other end of the Zoom room. How we doing, dude? How you been?
Very well. I could be better, Rob. As I said, I'm dealing with the old COVID virus right now. Traveled a bunch last week, so probably got it from one of those circular flying tubes, unfortunately. But I'm on the tail end of it, and I'm excited to kind of watch some baseball tonight after an off day yesterday.
Absolutely. For those that didn't know, we didn't record last week. Tyler was out in London and now came back with a little sickness, but he's still hanging in there.
Yep.
Yankees baseball was played the last time that we spoke on the pod. Prior, we didn't see the Tampa Bay series as well as the Cleveland series, but we'll talk a little bit. Well, more recently, we'll dive into the Cleveland series, but the Yankees were able to take 3 out of 4 from Tampa in actual Tampa Bay, Tyler, because they were
Hmm.
playing in the George Steinbrenner Field, and that was just weird. I think I remember hearing a
Weird
a,
series.
a report from weird series, and just like you're playing in a minor league stadium, but it's more, they talk up how it's designed more like a major league facility, but it was just weird because Meredith is talking about how there's 92% Yankee fans or some estimate there. I don't know if it was an
Yeah,
official report, but it
I
looked
believe it though.
like it.
You're in kind of Yankee territory over there.
Oh, 100%. All
You
the
know,
people that retire from New York, or they have connections
out to
down there, and
Florida, baby.
they go end up going to those games. So I mean, it's pretty cool, and it definitely is like a home field advantage there, and it
Mhm.
worked out for for the Yankees being able to take 3 out of 4 in that series. Had a little bit of a hiccup on that Saturday game that we'll talk about in this podcast regarding
Mhm.
Devin Williams and how they finished out that one. But most recently, we have the Cleveland series that we'll run through really quick. If you guys are new to the podcast, be sure to subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you subscribe, leave us a rate and review. We'll really appreciate it. Helps us grow. You can follow us on Instagram at 4Train Savages, as well as X at 4 Savages, and go ahead and follow us on TikTok too. So, Tyler, we'll jump right into the Cleveland series. First 2 games, not what we want.
Not what you want.
Not what we want. So, also a little earlier start time for these ones. The first 2 games started at 6 o'clock, and then the last one was at 1 o'clock. So, earlier start times when you play those central opponents, which always happens. But Clark Schmidt in this one, after we didn't talk about Clark in the Kansas City series because you
Mhm.
were also on vacation, but a really solid start when he pitched against Kansas City, 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks. So for a first start back, that is a exceptional outing for Clark. But in this one, not so much. 4 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 7 Ks, 3 walks. And in this one, Ramirez got him with a home run. Manzardo back to back on that one, actually. And they went up 4-0 in this. And the Yankees
Weren't we getting
tried,
no hit till like the sixth in this
I
too?
believe so. Or no, because Gavin Williams looked disgusting, but
Yeah.
he gave up 7 hits in this. But in the top of the seventh, Dominguez was able to cut it to a 6-2 game with a 2-run home run, and then Jazz was able to cut it to a 6-4 game with a home run in the top of the eighth. But this one, I chalk it up to Clark being back, still a little rusty. Didn't really give the Yankees an outing that put them in a position to win. But I'm not going to wasn't going to lose my mind over this game as much. It was still frustrating to watch, but I don't know. What were your thoughts on this one from Clark?
I mean, pretty much exactly what you just said, man. I mean, I took the his first start back, and I was like, okay, so this is what we can. Clark is here. Clark is good. But again, this Clark Schmidt is a very productive pitcher for us. But these are things that happened with him last year, where he's not doesn't necessarily always go deep into games. I'm
Mhm.
not saying that's what I'm going to profile him to be for the year. It's his second start off of injury. Against the Guardians, I'm not putting too much into it, honestly. Just like I'm not putting too much into his really good outing, right off of rehab. Just not putting too much
Yeah,
into that
you got
yet.
to
But
get a more.
you obviously want to be in a position to win, which we weren't. But this is why I'm excited that baseball is back, man, because I can be annoyed about like stupid little things like this.
In April, and you can just bitch and moan about everything,
Yep,
and
exactly.
that's why we love watching it.
Good problems to have.
So Yankees dropped that first game, and then game number two had had Will Warren on the mound, and after Will Warren's disappointing start against Tampa Bay, 1 2/3, let on a lot of base runners in that
Mm-hmm.
Tampa series.
No good.
Was not a good start for him. Actually turned out a very solid start
Yep.
in this 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. The Yankees kept it at or they took a 2-0 lead. Thank Ben Rice, first pitch of the game, first pitch swinging,
Mm-hmm.
hammered a home run. We'll get into talking about Ben Rice and his abilities there. Jazz also in the top of the sixth with a sac fly to put him up 2-0. But in the bottom of the sixth, Mark Leiter comes in. He takes the loss in this game, goes only 2/3 pitched, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 1 strikeout, and Stephen Kwan scoring on the lighter wild pitch. That one you put a little bit on Escara. That was me. I know it was a little challenging, but like Jack Flaherty said on the not on the podcast, on the Yes broadcast, he was saying how Escara was sort of getting ready to throw before he secured the ball. It wasn't the pitch location that they wanted, but and then it allowed for a kind of, you know, when it rains, it pours, and then
Yeah, I
they
don't
were
think
able.
Volpe helped too much here either.
Exactly. And they went up 3-2, and they never looked back, and the bullpen shut it down for them. And the Yankees really just and
That was a sad L,
in
too,
that
kind
sixth
of.
inning, yeah, in that sixth inning, the Yankees were really in control through the first 6 innings, and then giving it up in that fashion and a lot of sloppy defense. And I made the point, I had tweeted out that the Yankees defense to this point, I think, has looked better. And they've had, I mean, in the Tampa series, they had that really good relay. They had some Judge throwing out runners, some
I think they
solid
look
defense.
very athletic.
They do look more athletic, but then they have these instances like in the sixth inning that just scares you. And I think that's something of note, but I'm not going to lose
Hmm.
my mind over like declaring the Yankees defense still sucks, because there has to be more sizable evidence and we
Yeah,
have to see.
I
And
don't think they're a bad defense
I
at
do
all.
think they're a better team up the middle,
Hmm.
especially. I know we have to talk about the guys in the middle of the infield offensively, but up the middle defensively, catcher, shortstop, second base, and then Bellinger, although Bellinger in the third game did make a significant error that we'll talk about, but luckily the Yankees were able to hold on and go through that way.
Made a very nice catch as well,
Yeah, exactly. And in
though.
the end of that Kansas City game that we weren't around for to talk about, but
Yep.
moral of the story, though the Yankees defense at some points have these struggles, I don't think it's a moment where we define the defense. I think we have to
Mhm.
wait a little bit longer. I don't know what your thoughts are there.
No, no, I agree. I mean, you know me, I'm Mr. like try not to jump to an opinion too fast.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the defense is good. I think they will be good. They're very athletic. Um, Couple bonehead plays, as you said, but I want to give them a little bit of time to start working with each other, right? Like Jazz played third all last year, so he's kind of getting used to working up the middle again and playing second. And then for the most part, I do expect Volpe to play good defense. And then yeah, your backup catcher makes an error. It's not what you want necessarily. But again, like you said, I'm not judging the entirety of the defense on, little things like that right now.
Yeah. Agree on that. So, final game of the series, the Yankees were able to win this one 5-1. Carlos Rodon, especially after the last podcast, if you guys listened, we were critical because this was prior to his also stellar Tampa Bay start where he
Yeah.
gave up a shut or had a shutout. And we were saying, like, got to step up, got to can't have the big inning as much as he was.
Mhm.
Have to give him,
Got to
not
be an
necessarily,
ace, man.
no, not necessarily 0 earned run ball, but hey, you got to put him in a position to win and not
Yeah.
have that blow up inning. And that's what he did in these last two starts. But this Cleveland start, he had 7 innings pitched, 4 hits given up, 0 earned runs, 8 Ks, 2 walks. So just a really, really good start from Carlos Rodon. Offensively, Aaron Judge tripled in this one to score in Ben Rice. Paul Goldschmidt, another really solid game for Goldie. We'll get into just how he's. I saw a joke, Tyler, saying that
Unbelievable.
Goldie is turned into a version of like prime DJ LeMahieu, which
That
is really
actually is
funny.
funny.
Um, but Goldie, big contributor in this one. Also, Ben Rice again is just raking. Austin
Ben
Wells
Rice, absurd.
doubling to center to make it a 5-1 game as well. And the Yankees bullpen was able to lock it down. Cruz and Weaver no earned runs. Weaver gave up one hit, but Rodon gave you distance in this one, man. And I think that is for his last two starts. We talked about it
Against a
prior.
decent
Got
team too.
against a solid offensive team, and a team that's probably going to be in the mix in the playoffs. Looking at it at this moment
Yep,
in
at
time,
some
so
point.
a really really good way to salvage the series for the Yankees
Hmm.
and turn the page, and then like we were talking about before, to move into a division opponent this weekend with the Blue Jays. So, what were your like takeaways, big time from the series, and then we'll talk about our savages of the series.
I mean, big thing is I was happy to get out of there for the most part. As we know, those first two games were not fun to watch, and one of them was kind of a little bit of a, a little bit of a heartbreaker, if you will. Um, it's always weird though, right? You lose the first two games of the series, then you win on getaway day, and it makes you feel, like there's a little bit of something to be happy about here. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at. But obviously takeaways are Rodon, man. Very happy with I'm very happy with Fernando Cruz as well. I think he's been pretty disgusting with that like splitter type of thing he throws.
Hmm.
I think he's going to be the hell of an asset for the bullpen. And again, we still got guys like Loizaga to come back into mix, and hopefully Devin Williams can kind of figure his shit out a little bit. Um, Weaver's obviously been nasty, but I was happy they stole a win, right? I mean, at the
Hmm.
end of the day, they kind of blew that game. They lost 3-2. So in my head, they almost did enough to win the series, but kind of shot themselves in the foot. Very 2024 Yankees-esque, if you will. So hopefully that trend kind of turns itself around with little things here and there. But
Yeah.
I was happy they didn't get swept.
Yeah, yeah. At that point, when you lost the first two games in disappointing fashion, yeah,
Mhm.
I think, but like the last two series, if you look at it, they won three out of four. You drop
Yep.
two there. I mean, it's not excuse making,
Yeah.
but a lot
You
of
win.
season left,
Yeah.
and to
What is
this
that?
point,
You win 5 out of 7 then virtually 4 out of 7.
but also Tyler. I mean, we have to remember too, if you look at to the season this far or thus far, the Yankees are in first place, 15 and
Yeah.
10. They're two games up on the Red Sox, and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays and Tampa, and I mean
Best
Baltimore at
record
the
in the
bottom.
AL.
They all have their warts, and to this point, the Yankees have taken care of business, even with some questionable play here and there.
Yeah.
At this point, you got to be happy with them. And like we said,
The AL is wide open, man.
going into play Toronto this weekend, it's like, okay, you guys lost this series against Cleveland.
Yep.
Flip the script, playing a division opponent, go take care of business and make some stuff happen. So,
I don't want to be
um,
too dramatic with this Toronto too quick, Rob, but they've lost
if
5 in
they
a row.
lose this
We
is
could
the end
we,
of the end
we
of
could
the
literally end their season though to like this weekend, I think. Not actually, but I mean, they go in, they lose 8 straight. Let's say the Yanks go nuts and sweep them or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wouldn't
that
be
guess
mad
who's
at
gonna
that for Toronto. I don't like that
Bo's
Blue Jays
available at the
team.
deadline.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No. Let's talk about our savages of the series. The captain. That's who I'm going with this time. Who else? 7
Let's
for
go.
12 in this series. 2 extra base hits in the series. Wasn't and to this point, Tyler, I forget the last. Let me look at the game logs real quick. I want to see the last time he hit a home run was April 16th.
Yeah, he had a little bit of
So
a
11
gap there.
days, or sorry, 9 days. So he's been a little bit of a dry spell with these
Hmm.
games, and he's not hitting the home run. But to this
Getting hits
point,
though.
his numbers are still just otherworldly. I mean, Judge to this point still has 7 home runs, 26 RBIs, 415 average, 513 on base, and a 1.247 OPS. So he's not mashing the home runs, but I mean, the captain is just doing his thing and hitting in important RBIs and hitting in runners and leading still. Like if you look at it in relation to last year's April, Aaron Judge is getting off to a hot start, and
Yeah.
that's what's putting the Yankees at the top of the standings. Whereas last year, you were looking at Soto having a really good start to April,
Yep.
as well as Volpe. Remember, we at the start of last year had a really good start and then teetered off. But Judge now is leading the pack here, and that's a good thing now. So
Oh yeah.
Hoping Judge continues that. And I mean, at this rate, he's got another MVP season shaping up. So
And how many times did we mention last year we were like, yeah, and Judge was bad for 3 weeks in April, you know? I
yeah,
mean, Judge probably looks back at last season, he goes, well, there's not too much area to improve besides April and October, right?
yeah.
So hopefully you check one of those boxes, and then hopefully we get to check a second this year.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, can't argue with that, Rob. I am going to go with the other that I feel is clearly well deserving here, and that is Carlos Rodon. 7 innings pitched,
Talk
four
about it.
hits, 1 run, zero earned, 2 walks, 8 Ks, season ERA down to 3.5. Rob. Um, Rodon has been a workhorse the last year and hopefully this year as well. I'm happy to see him now have two back-to-back pretty stellar starts, if you will. And again,
Absolutely.
he's a $162 million man, Rob. We've kind of gotten on his ass a little bit. We're like, brother, you have to be an ace at some point. And if not, you're just kind of not as advertised.
Hmm.
We did see this last year where he put together a nice like couple months. So it's all about keep stringing together good starts, my man. That's what he did here. Kind of put the team on his back when they were, in a hole to potentially get swept on the road with an off day after. That would feel shitty. Um, so happy Rodon shoved, man. And a day, I think, or no, Clark didn't pitch the day before, but you want to save the relievers a little bit too, and it's good that he's going deeper into games, which is what an ace like Fried or you want in Rodon to do. Go deep into games and put the team on your back a little bit, give you a position to win. So Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, we got to talk about Freed too because we didn't recap the Rays series. That whole no hitter debacle with the scoring and Freed these last two starts has been absolutely stellar. So,
Unreal.
all
He's
right.
gonna get Cy Young votes as long as he, knock on
I
wood,
mean,
does
it's
not get
just
hurt.
he's just
Yep.
been a stud. So now let's do our Savage Slump Watch.
They stink.
And there's two guys on my radar. If you don't want to take either one,
I'm
but
gonna take the other one probably.
I think it's just I honestly like it's a topic that we just have to talk about because it's like
Yeah.
Yankee Nation is having
Freaking
conversation.
out,
I
yeah.
mentioned it that these guys up the middle at second base and shortstop, the Yankees defense has been very solid. I really enjoy watching both of them turn double plays. I think they're athletic. I think it's a really solid defense to have. I wanted Jazz to play second base and Volpe playing shortstop.
Mhm.
But the way that they've looked hitting wise in the last 50 at bats, I'm looking at each of these guys. I'll give you both their stats, and I'll let you talk about one of the other. I guess I'll take Jazz, but Jazz is 6 for his last 53 in the last 6 for 53 in his last 53 at bats, and then of his last 16 games. And if you look at Jazz's numbers, let me just pull it up really quick. Jazz has also he's been hitting the home run. He had the home run on what was
He's
it
got the slugging
Tuesday.
percentage.
He's got the slugging percentage, but the on base is at 280 right now, and the OPS
Not
just
good.
dipped below 700 at 698. And the uncompetitive at bats at times is very concerning. 7 home runs, 15 RBIs, and he's had big spots where he's come up with a big home run that we've all seen. Seeing him at Yankee Stadium with the pimp jobs and everything. 6 stolen bases on the year, but this is a moment in time where you look at these two guys in Volpe and Jazz that you say kind of black holes in the lineup. You're kind of not giving them what you need. Now, do we need them to be slugging the way that Jazz did the opening weekend or the way Volpe did last year? No, but it's just they are, and to look at Volpe's numbers, Volpe's hitting 130, 7 for 54 in his last 16 games, and 22 strikeouts of those 54 ABs. So when Jazz and Volpe, they're giving you good defense up the middle, but when they're not hitting the way that we're not asking for Judge numbers. We're not even asking for
Just get on base.
850 OPS. But yeah, this is
The average.
this is a time where you have to put together competitive at bats. You have to get on base at least over 300, and you have to be contributing to the lineup. And then if they're not going to do it, that's where the noise gets louder, especially for around Volpe, and it makes it more frustrating to watch the lineup at times, especially when they get into the summer months. So it's a conversation that's now being had this early, but hopefully they can turn it around.
Yeah, man. I mean, and honestly, too, like and you guys know I'm not a huge batting average guru here, but hitting 165 and 198, 165 being Jazz, 198 being Volpe, just kind of unacceptable there. I mean, that's excruciatingly low. The on base percentage is not where it needs to be. If it starts with a 2, it's pretty bad, right? I'm just going to
Yeah.
say that. It's even more annoying when it is your 2 fastest players. I mean, maybe Dominguez is faster than one of them, but when Volpe and Jazz are really your 2 biggest stolen base threats and they get on base at the lowest clip on your entire team, it's kind of frustrating.
No good.
Especially when you continue to see the 2-strike approach they both have, which seems to be in my head, swing as hard as I fucking can and try and put it over the fence. Like I want to see these dudes have an offensive profile. I'm going to be honest, I'm not incredibly worried about Jazz, even if he ends up hitting 230 and gives me 28 bombs or something. And I think the on base will figure itself out there, and the slugging will be there. I think he's kind of built for Yankee Stadium, so I'm not overly worried about Jazz. Volpe. I will say, and I am still a Volpe supporter, and he started off hot and he had a great postseason, so I'm still kind of living by the fact that he is capable of it. But it's just not good watching him get blown away by 93-mile-an-hour fastballs. Like it's alarming, like very alarming. Because usually when I don't know, when these younger, more these younger kids are still developing a little bit. Usually they're struggling with off-speed stuff, right? They're struggling with big curveballs, a nasty slider, a disgusting splitter that's getting thrown at them. The inability to touch a 93-mile-an-hour fastball that's thrown at you 4 straight times in a row and then waving at a non-competitive slider is very, very scary to me. So
I agree.
I'm hoping he can figure it out, but then I'm not going to let this gentleman go untouched as well. Cody Bellinger's been a problem, Rob. 177 batting average, 236 on base, 291 slug. Arguably a lot worse than Volpe and Jazz so far. Like I said, he's had the back stuff. He missed some time with the food poisoning and
Chicken
shit.
wings.
Chicken wings not doing him justice there. I'm hoping Belly.
Did you see Wells also? We didn't talk about Wells getting food poisoning.
That's
too.
actually ridiculous.
What's going on with the cafeteria?
We're getting this is premeditated. These food.
No more Wells burrito reviews. I said no more Wells burrito reviews.
But Wells got to step it up too a little bit actually. But really, if we're gonna throw up the middle, definitely a hole in the lineup right now. I think Belly is equally as responsible in that aspect of it too. So
yeah,
I didn't really give my savage of
slump watch.
Yeah. But 3 dudes that need to be better, Rob.
I think you lump them in all together,
and they're supposed to be an asset to the team, right?
I think, I think you make also, and you can actually put Cody in that conversation too. I think you make a really good point where you say those are your Volpe and Jazz are your stolen base threats, and then you say Cody has a little speed too.
Yep.
If they're not getting on base, then the stolen bases aren't going to be at a clip that you necessarily want. So it's still early for the Yankees. They still have a lot of time. There's still time for Jazz to turn around and Volpe to turn around. But we have seen, especially with Volpe, more so Volpe, that you've seen that he, as the season goes on, he's had a little bit of a struggle getting on base at a clip that he should. And that not just because he's not on, not getting on base, not getting hits, not walking as much as he should, but again, like the stolen base factor and forcing the defense to make plays, that's a big thing. And if they're not doing it at a clip that they should, that could hurt the Yankees in the long run, where we want them to be more athletic. We want them to be a stolen base threat. And that should be an asset because like past years, Tyler, we've been like, where's the speed? Where's the guys on the bases? So that it's all tied together, and you could put Cody Bellinger in that conversation too because he's got a little bit of speed. But that's definitely up the middle. The defense has been good. Austin Wells, Jazz, Volpe, Bellinger need the bats to get it together a little bit. But let's switch paradigms from less negative talk because it is a first place team.
Hey,
let's talk about the good guys. Yeah, let's talk about the good guys. So you want to start with either Trent Grisham or Ben Rice, man? Couple lefties.
I'm gonna start with Ben Rice.
I think, dude. Do it.
I'm really in love with the Trent Grisham experience right now. I just am gonna be a total pessimist and go, I don't know how long it'll necessarily last. But
Trent Grisham hits bombs.
Prove me wrong, Trent. But if they put him in good spots, he'll continue to rake potentially.
Yeah.
Ben Rice has been unbelievable, man. Like I said, I think I came in here first part of the year and I was like, Tyler sold on Ben Rice. Totally sold. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. But he really does rake, dude. And like I said, I've said this a few times too, where I go, the best thing that can happen to this team is that we're sitting here in June going, how do we get Ben Rice and Giancarlo Stanton in the same lineup together? Still a question that I have no idea how that potentially works out, if it's even a possibility.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, Ben Rice, he's accumulated point 0.9 WAR essentially as a DH this year, which is kind of ridiculous. So he's almost accumulated a full 1 WAR, 6 homers on the year, 11 ribbies, batting 288, 402 on base. 402.
Stellar.
That's pretty sick. 288, 402 on base, 603 slug. He's one dotting right now. He's essentially Aaron Judging before Aaron Judge became Barry Bonds. um, so I mean, you can't really get much better than that. And again, you can see, Rob, how fast the outlook of a team changes when you get a young guy like Ben Rice that kind of comes up and takes the world by storm.
Yeah.
187 OPS plus, just kind of stupid numbers right now. Love him in the leadoff spot against a righty for sure. Love him anywhere, honestly. And
Hmm.
just thinking, I just looked at Paul Goldschmidt's stat line. Just kind of have to shout him out too, like hitting
Oh yeah.
383, like unbelievable. But Ben
I
Rice,
want to
man,
talk.
I'm
Yeah.
totally sold.
So before I get to Goldschmidt, also because you mentioned Stanton and like how they're gonna, Stanton was taking BP in
Hmm.
Cleveland.
It looks like those swings were about
It looked
20%.
so uncomfortable.
He's waving.
I was watching the elbows the entire time.
Yep.
But before I talk about Paul Goldschmidt, let's shout out Trent Grisham. He just had a child, or not him, his wife had a child. Sorry, but he was on paternity leave this week against Cleveland. But for the year, Trent Grisham has 6 home runs, 13 RBIs, a 320 average, 393 on base, and he's one dotting at
Nuts.
1.093. So, I mean, listen, we joke about it, but it is the Trent Grisham trade at this point. So,
Yeah, literally.
and he's been playing stellar, and now that gives the Yankees another reason to say, "Hey, we got to fit this guy in the outfield rotation. We got to find some spots.
Hmm.
If he's hitting the ball like this, you got to find a way to let him play. If you hit, you play." So,
Yeah.
um,
And Belly's going to be the odd man out at this point.
yeah, I mean, I'm hoping he turns it around, but it would be a better
I think
problem
he
to
will.
have that you
Yeah.
got. And as you said, Trent Grisham, more likely than not, is probably he's not going to be doing this for the entire year. But if he's a bat, I mean, can you imagine that Trent Grisham sniffs
Literally,
20 home runs?
right?
That
That
is a
would be nuts.
huge,
He
huge
he
asset.
hit 17 with the Padres a couple years ago.
So it's not out of the realm of possibilities, but
Yeah.
Trent Grisham's been stellar. As I mentioned, Paul Goldschmidt, or as we mentioned, Paul Goldschmidt. I made the joke, and I've been seeing it online. Like Paul Goldschmidt's turned into DJ LeMahieu of what he once was, and
Dude, this
I
is
see people.
MVP Goldie. Like,
It is. I think we'd like the slugging and the more of a power to come
yeah,
alive, which we saw on Wednesday. But it's more of like base. But like, listen, beggars can't be choosers.
exactly.
Here's the thing. Here's how I'll lay it out. Right.
One homer, he's still
I've been
slugging
I've been
489
tweeting.
though.
Yeah, exactly. I've been tweeting it that this is production that the Yankees did not have at first base at all last year, and really
For like
in
multiple
in
years at this
2023
point.
too. Yeah, exactly. This is production that the Yankees haven't had at first base for a while. And we're hoping that Paul Goldschmidt continues to hit like this. Is he going to be hitting close to 400? Maybe not, probably not.
Can he
But
hit
if
320
it,
though? Sure,
but
I think.
but Tyler, before we started podcasting this year, we were talking about how if Paul Goldschmidt gives you anything in the
700.
700s,
Yeah.
anything maybe close to 8, you call that a success because that's not production that you've been getting out of first base for a long time with
Hmm.
the Yankees. And he's exceeding expectations. Now has a 922 OPS, playing very solid defense at first base. Has a couple hiccups here and there, but for a guy doing that at 37, listen, there's a long season left and you have to see him continue to do that. But to this
But
point,
again,
Paul Goldschmidt.
the questions for us too going into this year weren't the second half of the season. We were like, are you going to suck for the first couple months again?
That's true. That is true because he started his last year was a second half boost, and
Mhm.
then he went on from there. So to this point, Paul Goldschmidt has been a very important contributor. He's bopped around from leadoff to hitting cleanup, and they're getting funky with Ben Rice leading off or Paul Goldschmidt leading off. And I mean, I would say I was skeptical of it, but it's been working. So if it
Yeah,
ain't broke, don't fix it. So
exactly.
Paul Goldschmidt's been hitting really, really well, and it's awesome to see. And
You know,
that's been a bright spot in the lineup where, there's been, like we talked about, the negative guys, and then when they get it going around, as long as Goldie's just hey,
this lineup
I
can
mean,
be
we
so
said
deep,
it,
man. It
man.
really can be.
We said it. Just, I mean, the expectations are are like we
Yeah, I
keeping
mean,
the
we're
bare
coming off of
minimum, Goldie.
Rizzo was the worst first baseman in baseball
He's one of
last
the
year.
worst hitters.
We
Listen, I'm
first
appreciative.
base and left field and third base last year, or not third base, excuse me, first base and left field.
Yeah, I don't mean to like slander Rizzo because I'm very appreciative for what
And
he
he's a good
did,
dude. He's an awesome
but
dude.
he after the Tatis thing, he couldn't be played, and the defense
Yeah.
started being bad, and so Goldie
Here,
coming in here on a 1 year prove it deal has to this point been very good.
here's something too, dude. And I know we were both skeptical of this as well, but Christian Walker, man, 3 years, 60 million, not playing good baseball right now. Go check out that page. Paul Goldschmidt, 1 year, 12.5 mil, playing decent ball.
Not bad,
Um,
not bad.
so everyone, I know a lot of people were like freaking out that Goldie was just, another Josh Donaldson type of thing and should have
No, that was
sold out
Nolan
for.
Arenado.
Well,
That's
that too. But I know some people were upset that Houston went out and got Christian Walker and the Yankees like settled for Paul Goldschmidt type of thing. But I think this was, as of now, it's checking out to be a smarter financial move, if you will, that has pretty good output so far in terms of the offense. And how awesome would it just be, even if he doesn't hit a ton of homers and he just hits like 25 doubles or something and bats 340? I mean, when's the last time we had that?
That would
You
please the
know?
old school Yankee fans that don't
Yeah.
like home runs and
Mm-hmm.
all that. So I listen. I'm all for hitting average, and I think that I'll
It's a
take it.
more fun brand of baseball to watch in some sense.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
mean homers are always gonna
Homers are great.
chicks dig the long ball. So
Yeah.
that's also other news coming back. Tyler Matzik
Yep.
is now activated on the roster, and they DFA'd Yoendris Gomez, and then also big news, Tyler. Big news. Are you ready for this, dude?
I'm ready.
DJ LeMahieu homered
Oh,
in
yeah.
Double A.
I think he homered and doubled in his first two at bats, right? Or something like that.
I'm telling you right now, the writing is on the wall,
I
and
mean,
other
you
Yankee
know
fans
they're going
know
to
it.
play him at third, dude.
DJ LeMahieu is going to be starting for the Yankees sooner rather than later. Just prepare yourselves. Just prepare yourselves.
Listen, I would be a little more upset, but I haven't necessarily been forced to love Waldo or Peraza thus far, or Pablo Reyes for that matter. But I'm not gonna love DJ either. So what the fuck do I care at this point?
I mean, to this point, Oswaldo's got a 262 average, but that OPS is 666. So, like, yes, I think DJ LeMahieu, no offense, but I mean, to very appreciative to what DJ did in his early years with the Yankees.
Am I
and
optimistic?
He was
No.
stellar, but I'm not. He was objectively the worst hitter in baseball last year.
Yes, he was.
So
Gotta wonder
we're
why
at a point
Pablo
where
Reyes
it's going to
is
be
still on the
really
team.
hard for them to. It's going to be hard for him to prove it, but he's got to go out and do it. Be like old man Goldie and do that, and that's awesome.
Come
But
prove all the haters wrong, man.
and here's the thing: he's very fragile now. It's a game of operation with him, and
There will be a point where I think he gets run playing like 4 days a week.
yeah,
type of
it's
thing.
more of a platoon. But I don't even so I don't know.
But I think it'll be like a 3 week thing. Like if he's bad for 3 weeks, like yeah, you're gonna sit on the bench until we figure something out.
Yeah.
Gotta wonder why Pablo Reyes is still on the team.
They started him the other day. That was because
Over Vivas is kind of crazy.
But
too.
that was because I think he had already played, I suppose. But it's because Grisham was on paternity leave, and then Reyes has experience in the outfield and all that. But I wouldn't expect him to be playing a lot more. And I don't want to go on a
DFA'd by
Peraza,
maybe the middle of May.
probably.
Not that it matters.
I would.
DJ's got to take someone's place. It's gonna be him probably.
I think
Peraza
that's
doesn't have options.
I think that's a good little guess there, Tyler. And then lastly, we didn't go through the Rays series because we wanted to keep it a little more recent. Tyler's on vacation and everything. But the game 3, which was, I think it was Friday. No, it was Saturday. The big story coming out of that again was the Devin Williams giving up that really bad last inning and then losing the game for the Yankees at 10-8. The Aranda came in to walk it off in the bottom of the 10th. And I just want to pull up the exact play-by-play so we get it right. In that inning, Devin Williams comes in, gets out Misner. Caballero is able to get in on the Cabrera score error. So, and that was a big conversation that Cabrera ended up actually making a really great play to save the game or continue it into the 10th. But then just a flood of runs, and they were able to come back from 8-4 on Devin Williams. And Tyler, the closer conversation kind of continues. But I want to also mention this because I think it was very good of Aaron Judge to come out in defense because he's the captain. He said, chopped up
Judge
quote,
quotes have been great this year.
Chopped up quotes, but he's strictly business. He's definitely
he's
on
pissed
his
off,
FU
bro.
No, he is pissed off. It couldn't be clear. So
I
he
like
goes,
the homer call that he came back on too. Where
Yep.
he was like, "Yeah, it was a homer. They messed up."
oh yeah, oh yes, that's the
He
other one.
never
we have to
does
talk
that
about.
shit.
We got to talk about Fried before and Fried in that game.
Yep.
So, but he says he's the best closer in the game. We got a long season. That's who we want on the mound. Nobody here is worried. He's going to get the job done. Totally understand Judge saying that. Back up your teammate. He's now in here. You got to make him feel ingratiated. You got to make him feel at home. It's only April. But I got to be honest. I think I'm on the same page as you of like right here, right now. They have to put him in spots to get him comfortable and work him back in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a point that I didn't make last podcast, but I think I should make now. And I think some Yankee fans would agree with me. But I know it was one instance off the Alonso home run when he was with Milwaukee. But there is something like I agree with you that the closer by committee with the Yankees is important because there wasn't, especially after the Clay Holmes thing, there wasn't a standout guy.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes you just feel better about Weaver, and I know it's goofy and his social media videos, but dude, he's just got an FU attitude that sometimes you just need as a closer. And he looks like he doesn't fear a single thing. I think that's important.
He doesn't.
And like at this moment in time, could Devin Williams get that FU attitude back? Yeah, he can. He closed a lot of games and he can get back in that mind frame. But then there's also the chance that like, can he do it here now? Like it's a variable now. I know it's only April, but I think the conversation can be had. Can Devin Williams get back in that mode? Yes, he can. But like Luke Weaver is a dog, man. And it's hard for Yankee fans not to look at that and say, that guy should be in the most important moments because of the mentality. So, and that game against Tampa sort of reinforced that a little bit, but he's going to have to, they're both going to be in save spots, I think. So
Yep.
that's kind of the way I feel.
I don't, there's nothing for me to disagree on necessarily, right? Like I am pretty confident in Devin Williams' ability to be
He's a good
an
pitcher.
elite closer. Yeah. And when you like opening day, that was kind of a tough sweat that he had at the beginning of it. But in his last 7 innings pitched, his last 7 appearances, he's only given up any earned runs in 2 of those, right? The meltdown in Tampa and in Detroit. So like he's been bad, but he also did have, he closed out 2 games against KC and 1 game against Tampa Bay. So like he had 3 straight save opportunities that he completed, and then he had a meltdown in Tampa that he, inevitably blew for the team. So like, does he need to be better? Yes. Is this what you traded for when you acquired him? No. Do I think he can be what he's been his career? I do. Doesn't mean Luke Weaver can't be used in higher leverage spots right now to get Devin comfy, as we've talked about, because Luke Weaver really does. He just goes out and just slings the damn ball, and he doesn't care. Like even in Cleveland, that save when they got the save to win the game that Weaver did on Wednesday or whatever. I almost thought he gave up 3 straight homers with how far those balls were hit to become outs. To end
He
the
just
game.
seems like unfazed, man. And
yeah.
And I listen, and that
we just haven't seen it yet from Devin, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure like Milwaukee fans have seen that fuck you attitude from him a little bit. We just kind of haven't gotten to see it because he hasn't gotten that cocky, like confident groove yet necessarily. Yeah. So I think it'll come. I'm just hoping, Get it out now, man. Right? If you're gonna be good from May through October, fine with me. If we have to suck it up a little bit right now, but I
Yeah.
agree, man. You got to get them comfortable, and no shame in having Weaver or anyone close right now.
Have the torch for now. Yeah.
Again, and Fernando Cruz is nasty.
Yes, he's been looking
Nasty.
good. So again in that Rays series, which we didn't talk too much about, Max Fried was flirting with a no-hit bid.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the bottom of the sixth, weird situation, hard ball hit to Goldie at first base. At the time of when it happened, it was ruled an error. And then let me get the name right. And then when the yes comes back from commercial break, Bill Matthews, the official scorer, went ahead and ruled it a hit. And Kay, were you listening to it?
Oh, Kay just ripped into him. I loved it.
I can't believe it. And a lot of Yankee fans are frustrated, and it ended up not mattering because in I think it was the top of the seventh or top of the eighth or bottom of the seventh, bottom of the eighth, Fried gave up a leadoff single. So, but man, that was like that was kind of crazy. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. It was hit hard, so I'm saying maybe it was a hit, but like Goldie, I would think a Gold Glover like that is gonna scoop it up, and it was hit right at him. So, or he kind of moved into it, and it wasn't like so. I don't know.
I don't even care about the call. It's just you can't change it an inning and a half later.
Yeah, that's the thing, man.
That's pretty ridiculous.
It's the precedence there. It's
like who?
don't
Someone called you and was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you should probably change that." Like what?
But the worst thing was that home run miscall, and Booney came out after the game and was saying, I forget the exact quote. I gotta find it. But Boone was pissed. He got tossed when Judge. I don't know how they couldn't just review that and like see that from where's their offices in Secaucus and not see that on replay and just say, I mean, it landed where the ball landed
in the trees over there. Yeah.
Well, it hooked and it looked foul. It hooked, but the way that the camera was set up was clearly in the fair territory.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Judge was pissed, and then the next where he got struck out, it was a questionable call, and then to have that home run called back, and Boone came out and was that it was just pretty wild that they missed the call. He was speaking with Meredith, so
absurd.
Just some funky business happening in that Tampa series.
Judge should have 8 home runs.
If they didn't win that series the way they did, I mean they should have swept if Devin Williams doesn't implode.
Yep.
But yeah, if it went any harsher, I think it would be a way bigger talking point. But you go, okay, whatever. You guys are screwing us over and everything. So
thank God that didn't even matter for both of those calls for Fried and Judge.
Exactly. So we'll wrap it up. The Yankees are back at home for a single game homestand against Toronto this weekend. I think they're doing a hockey jersey night tonight, which I saw on Twitter that they have the
I like that too.
The lines out the door. So Carrasco pitches tonight against Barrios, Max Fried on Saturday for a 1:00 game, and then Schmidt on Sunday, and then they head to Baltimore. So so actually 3 division opponents, Tyler. It goes
Tampa,
Toronto, Baltimore, Tampa, and then a really solid team in San Diego comes to the stadium.
They're so good, man.
And then after San Diego, they're going out west, which I will actually be in attendance for one of the Seattle games. So,
let's go.
This next little, they got some pretty okay talented teams. It's still early, so, but this weekend, I think, joking around, but you're saying Barry Toronto. You're maybe not going to do that in April, but like, hey, listen, like.
Keep pushing them further back.
Push them further back. Keep them on this bad stretch of baseball. So that's the way I'm kind of feeling about it. What are you looking for in this series mostly?
I am looking at who's pitching today. Let's see.
Carrasco tonight.
So Cookie. So there's nothing I'm looking for there.
They released tonight's lineup actually. So it's Grisham leading off, Judge second, Ben Rice third, Paul Goldschmidt fourth, Bellinger fifth. Jazz and Volpe back-to-back is just still kind of, I don't know.
I kind of love Trent up top, though.
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't like Jazz and Volpe back-to-back necessarily. I don't know. But
this is lefty-righty. You can't have lefty.
But Jazz,
you can't have 3 lefties.
Jazz, yeah, no, I know. But I just want them to get back on track. I'm not going to, in the grand scheme of things, who else are you going to bat in that situation? Because those guys,
Yeah.
the bottom four, just I mean,
And
really
again, we
bottom
need them. We
five.
need them to hit back to back.
Yeah,
You need to be good at some point.
exactly. So
So I guess that's what I'm looking for. Is I'm looking for the three idiots that are back to back to back. Not the three idiots. Belly, Jazz, and
current
Volpe
idiots.
to play well. That's what I'm looking for in this series. Who's pitching
Absolutely.
on?
Freed on Saturday, and then
Okay.
Schmidt on Sunday.
Oh, why did my thing come up as their only? I have the schedule in front of me on something, and it says a 2-game set against the Blue Jays. But then I go to ESPN, and it's 3.
What are you looking on?
I don't know.
MLB?
Just Google. Yeah, I think it's MLB.
Oh, maybe it's a little fun. Like Google View is a little
Weird.
different, but
So we got. You said Freed, and then who?
Freed and then Schmidt, or
All right.
Carrasco, Freed, Schmidt.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Belly, Volpe, and Jazz to play well, and I'm looking for Clark to have a better start than last week,
I agree.
and I'm looking to win the series.
And Jazz and Volpe do something. Do
And
something.
Wells too. Wells, I'll start to throw him in this category.
You and your no more burrito reviews. You
Yeah,
have to
relax.
You have to focus now. I'm just
No fun.
no fun allowed. But that's it for episode 202 for Train Savages podcast. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Listening on all the podcast platforms, leave us a rate and review and subscribe there. And follow us on our social channels, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all there to keep up with all of our clips and our psychotic tweets and Instagram postings and everything. So memes and all that. So really appreciate everyone for tuning in. We'll catch you at 203. Peace.